Hi guys, welcome back to the Bearded Broskies. I'm Chris, this is Mike, and this week we're doing Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 7. The finale was tonight, 121 minutes. Everybody's really happy about that.
Yep.
Episode didn't disappoint in a lot of ways, and some other ways a little bit. We had a lot of huge big moments that happened. Some fan theories came true tonight, some of my personal predictions came through tonight, but we both felt like it was kind of slow paced.
Yeah, a lot of exposition. They got a lot of stuff out there. I thought some of the meetings probably took a little bit longer than they needed to, but it was all like really good acting. Strong performances from all the characters tonight. So I'll live with it.
Yeah, good moments, just a lot of dialogue, a lot to take in. We start off down in King's Landing. There's the big meeting in the Dragon Pit between all Dany's forces and Cersei's forces, obviously. So it starts with rows and rows of Unsullied outside the walls, and Jaime's up top with Bronn going, oh fuck. And then all the thousands of Dothraki come in, and then they all meet in the Dragon Pit where the Hound is towing the undead soldier that they captured last episode in a big crate.
Yeah.
And he's kind of, Lannister soldiers are kind of like, oh, what's in the box? What's in the box? And he's like, you just shut the fuck up and you'll get away. If you touch the box, I'll kill you. So you got more comedy with the Hound. The Hound gets a reunion with Brienne Tarth, where they share a moment talking about Arya, how Arya's alive. She's in Winterfell, and the Hound's like, oh, well, who's watching over her if you're not? And she's like, oh, no one needs to watch over Arya. So the Hound's kind of like, oh.
People that need to watch out are the people that get in her way.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool because, Arya learned a lot from the Hound. She learned a lot from, she had some of the best teachers, right? So, it's kind of cool to see them have a mutual respect, right? Because then she'll almost kill the Hound too, right? So he's got a mutual respect for her. We get a reuniting of the Hound and his brother face off. The Hound pretty much warns Gregor Clegane, you knew that I would be the one that would come for you in the end. So, you're uglier than me now, and basically next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, we had a cool reunion with Bronn and Tyrion as well as Pod. First time they've all been together in a while, so we had a nice little moment between them, and Bronn says how he missed Tyrion, and Tyrion says how he missed Bronn, and that was really cool. Getting to see them back together again, and of course Pod, who would have thought he would have survived all this time, but Tyrion was obviously glad to see him as well. So nice little moments between all these actors that are getting to see each other again.
Well, and they're kind of hinting maybe Bronn's going to defect and switch sides because Bronn starts talking about, oh, you guys got a better army, and it looks like your queen might end up being queen of everything soon. And Tyrion's like, well, remember what he told him in season 1. He goes, Bronn, I told you if anybody, whatever anybody's price is, I'll double it, right, for your loyalty. And Bronn's like, well, they promised me a castle, so am I going to get 2 castles, So they're hinting that Bronn's totally going to defect, and later on we'll get into some other big defections that are coming up between the sides. So the big meeting takes place in the Dragon Pit, and basically Cersei arrives last, as she thinks. It's a big power play for her. Dany brings the army as a power play. Cersei brings, you guys are all going to wait on me.
Yep.
And then Dany shows up on Drogon, so she really arrived last and got the best power play there, I think, intimidation factor anyways. And then we get a real awkward scene, really, where nobody wants to talk. Just everybody
all just kind of sitting there staring at each other. So Tyrion finally decides he's going to be the one to kick off, break the ice, I guess, and he starts talking, and before he can even get 2 words out, Euron's telling Theon that I've got your sister, and if you ever want to see her alive again, you'll come over here and join me.
Or you'll bow down to me.
Or you'll bow down
to
me. Yeah. And Tyrion's like, why are you talking? Or Jon pipes up and says, why are you talking? None of that matters. Shut up.
And then he starts going, oh, we kill dwarves on the Iron Islands when they're a baby and blah, 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 blah. And he's basically threatening Tyrion. And then Jaime steps in to stand up for Tyrion. And then he starts mocking Jaime. And then finally Cersei has to get the Mountain to step forward and be like, you're either going to sit down and shut up or you're going to get fucking removed.
Yeah.
So then he finally sits down and shuts up. And negotiations start taking place, but it's more Cersei jabbing Dany and Dany jabbing Cersei, and not really much is getting done until the Hound brings up the box that's got the undead soldier in it, and it's kind of funny seeing the thing's not moving. And so the Hound's taking off the box all slowly, takes the lid off, kind of backs up, got his sword ready, and the stupid thing's still not moving. Everybody's just like, yeah, what's in the box?
Yeah.
And so he finally boots the box over, and this thing just goes full bore, stops about like 6 inches from Cersei's face.
You
Like,
got a chain around
yeah.
it, so
Yeah.
it's beelining right for Cersei. You can see the look on her face. She's jumping back a bit, like, what the hell is this thing?
I think this is the first time since probably season 2 when she thought her and Tommen were going to die on the throne when Stannis was assaulting the city that you actually saw Cersei petrified.
Yeah.
Like, out of character, like, holy shit, like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And so obviously everybody's a believer now, and it took, you know, the Hound chops it in half, and it's still clawing at people. So, I mean, John kind of gives a demonstration, you know, he's like, lights the hand on fire that got cut off and goes, we can kill him with fire, we can kill him with dragon glass.
Yeah.
And, you know, basically he has everybody on board now. Like, everybody's speechless and going, oh my God, like, yeah, we got to deal with this.
Yeah.
And they're like, Jamie's kind of like, how many of them are there? And Danny's like, 100,000 at least. And Jamie's just like, oh, fuck, not like I had enough problems with Dothraki and Unsullied and Dragons. Now I got friggin' 100,000 dead people.
Yeah.
So he's convinced. And so Cersei agrees to join forces with everybody and do their little truce. But she wants Jon to swear that he won't take up arms against House Lannister, basically. So she's like, okay, well, I'll help out, but now the North is out of the war afterwards. You can be a kingdom. I think I don't know if she officially said that. I think she was hinting like,
She was
you can
basically
be king of the
yeah.
North, you can rule the North, I'll leave you alone, but you're not allowed to join sides
Yeah.
with Danny.
You can be the
after.
North, she can
Yeah.
be the South, will be ours, and you know,
Yeah.
then we'll all be our thing. But yeah, you can't help her. And he basically says, well, unfortunately, I've already
Pledged myself to her, you know, I
I'm
bent the
with
knee.
Daenerys.
And it pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
Like, Cersei storms off, she's friggin' livid because she's like, well, fuck you, then there's nothing.
Yeah, we have nothing to talk about.
And then Dany and Tyrion are pissed off because they're like, well, you could have lied to her, you know, and told her that after the war was over. And he's like, he's Ned Stark's son, so I mean, he's very honorable. And he's like, we don't gain anything through lying.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what, if you're going to build everything in this new world with lies, he goes, then no one's going to be able to trust anybody in the end.
Yeah.
And he goes, and Jon is still hammering, I don't care about all this petty shit. We need to deal with the undead people. So I'm going to be truthful and we need to get this shit done.
Yeah.
So, smart? No. Loyalty, honor? Yeah, I guess so. But that's Jon. So the only last resort now, because everything is basically a waste of time, Dany gets mad at Jon, goes, you know, like, if nothing happens with this meeting, that means Viserion died for nothing, like she lost a dragon. You lost all those men, like, all this was for nothing if Cersei doesn't concede, right? So then Tyrion takes off to go talk to Cersei.
Yeah, so Tyrion decides, well, I'm our only hope, basically, you know. I'll go talk to my sister, you know, give it my best shot. And everyone's like, well, why? Like, she's probably just going to kill you. And he's like, well, she does, she doesn't, she doesn't. You know, Daenerys is like, oh, I don't want to lose my hand here. I didn't come to see you get murdered. But they let him go, and so you see him walking down the hall, the mountain's right behind him, and they come up on Jamie, and he's just like, did you talk to her? And he's like, I talked at her.
So she kicked me out.
Yeah, so.
I was like, oh, good luck.
Yeah, so he sends Tyrion on in, and, you know, they start up their meeting, and of course, Cersei's pissed. She wants to kill him. You can tell the look in her eye. She's just like, I don't want to even talk to you right now, but she does, and she kind of starts to hear him out a bit, and you know, he's talking about how he never wanted their family to go down the way it has. He never wanted to kill their father. He obviously didn't want to see the children die.
He loved the children. He didn't want to see what happened to Marcella, what happened to Tommen.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't poison Joffrey, and you know, he kind of gets through to her. And you see another uncharacteristic thing with Cersei, because Tyrion's basically like, you know what? This is what happens. I know you hate me. Get the mountain to cut me in half. I'm ready to die. Just fucking, if that's what you want, kill me right now. And you know, you're like, oh shit, Tyrion's dead. And the mountain draws a sword, but then Cersei won't pull the trigger. And, you know, now that I've seen the whole episode, you're like, oh, that's really weird, because why wouldn't Cersei just cut him down? Like, who gives a shit? Even if he's right, even if she forgives him, she's like, whatever. She doesn't lose anything by cutting him down, but then you learn there's a little, Cersei's always got a plan.
Yeah.
And it means, and it involves Tyrion being alive, so that's obviously why she kept him alive. So then, right when you think Tyrion's getting through to her and they share a glass of wine, he finds out, because she's been holding her belly, that she's pregnant. So now he's finding that her motive, she's back in defensive mode, she's got to protect her unborn child. And then the scene cuts and then we cut to a different scene. We don't get to hear why now.
He also made a comment that basically said that I don't want to see our house end. Because she's saying, well, you've taken up with Daenerys. You want to see our house end. He said, I don't want to see our house end. and that's when he finds out that she's pregnant.
So
So
it's weird. Like, is Tyrion really gonna flip flop sides here over family, right?
yeah,
So that's kind of what they're hinting at, and the fact that we didn't hear the end of their conversation because they do cut the scene, but then they go back to the dragon pit, and Dany and Jon are having another useless moment
mm,
because they're building that relationship. And then Tyrion comes back, and Cersei comes back as well, and then she concedes, "Yes, I will hold hostilities. We will fight the North together, and we will destroy all the undead." So you're like, oh, well, this is like not very Game of Thronesy. Everybody's getting along.
yeah, all happy us.
So Dany and Jon and all their forces go back to Dragonstone, and they start plotting out where they're going to send the Unsullied up by ships, how the Dothraki are going to ride hard on the King's Road, get there in a fortnight, which is a month, and how Dany's going to sail up with Jon so the Northern Lords don't see her arriving on dragons as like a conqueror, more that they have an alliance with Jon, right?
Yeah.
So that's their plan, and then we shoot back down to King's Landing to see Jaime's drawing up battle plans because they called all their banners, and he's saying, "Oh, we're gonna deploy men here, we're gonna meet at Winterfell, blah blah blah." And then Cersei shows up and basically like, "Oh, I need to talk to my brother alone."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says, "What the hell are you doing?"
He's
Like,
like,
what do you mean? Well, we're setting up battle plans. We're going to march up north and we're going to join them. She's like, "You an idiot! You really are the dumbest brother."
"You're the dumbest Lannister." Yeah.
And she's basically saying, "We're not doing any of that.
Yeah.
We're going to let them go, and they're going to, they're either going to win, and then we'll fight them later, or they're going to lose." And he said, "Well, what does that accomplish? Then either we have a pissed off alliance with Dany in the north,
Dragons.
and they're going to come after us, or they'll lose, and the dead will come after us. So we're damned if we do, and we damned if we don't. Like, what is your end game
like
here?"
yeah, her strategy is just like Jaime's the military commander. He goes, I fought the Dothraki, I fought the dragons. He goes, we can't beat them. And then he goes, if the undead beat them, we're all fucking dead. He goes, and if they defeat the undead, we're still all fucking dead. He goes, we don't have the people, we don't have the food, we don't have the resources, we don't have the support from the other houses.
Yeah.
And she's going, we have the Iron Bank. I'm going to bring over the Golden Company that has 20,000 people and a bunch of elephants. And he's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Friggin' dragon gonna pick elephant up and throw Dumbo across the friggin' field.
Because during their first meeting, Euron is basically storms off, and after he sees the undead, and he says, "I'm out of here. I'm back to the Iron Islands. They can't swim, so he's gonna go take off." But she turns out she sent him off to go pick up the Golden Company in Essos and bring them back over.
That was a big sham. Yeah. That was to make it look like they had lost a big chunk of their alliance, but really Euron's going to bring the Golden Company back. So pretty much going into season 7, Cersei's plan is she's basically building up the biggest army she can because there's probably about 10,000 Lannister forces left. She basically controls all the Tyrell bannermen too, right? So she's basically whatever's left. And she's basically going to hoard up probably 10 to 15,000 men. She's going to bring over her 20,000. She's just going to fortify King's Landing, basically, for the big epic battle that'll be next season for the throne, while they go up and deal with the White Walker threat. And so Jaime's just like, well, you're an idiot. Like, I can't blindly, I'm honor bound. I said I pledged myself to go do this. And she goes, no, you're not going. You can't leave me. Nobody leaves me. And he goes, well, what are you going to do if I leave you? And then
he goes to turn around and walk away, and he was right there at the mountain. And he basically says, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to kill me?
And we thought Jaime was going to die.
I thought Jaime was going to die. My heart was beating a bit.
Yeah, she gave the mountain the nod, and he drew the sword. I'm like, they can't kill Jaime. This is the baddest way to kill Jaime. And my prediction of him killing Cersei, I'm like, fuck, I hate it when I'm wrong. Yeah. So I'm like, do not kill Jaime. And basically he calls her bluff, and he goes, well, I'm going.
Yeah.
And she didn't give the final order, and she basically
let him go.
Let him go because she can't kill him because she loves him, and all her threats she thought would keep him under her power, but she's just like, fine, go then. So she's basically disowned him like Tywin disowned him in season 4, right? When he wouldn't give up being a Kingsguard.
Yeah.
So now you have Jaime is now on the good guy, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Which means that Jaime has defected. Which means Bronn's going to defect because he don't trust Cersei. He has to go anywhere Jaime goes because he already said that. He goes, dragon's not allowed to kill you. Dead people aren't allowed to kill you. I'm allowed to kill you because I need my castle. So that means we're going to have Bronn, Tyrion, Jamie back together. That's going to be cool. Brienne and Pod, the Hound. This is looking great. So that's kind of cool. And as Jamie's defecting and riding off on his horse, snow's finally falling in the Crown Lands. So winter is truly here, and Cersei's going to be hiding under a pile of snow soon.
Yeah.
So then we go back up north, and I think we're going to touch on Winterfell.
Well, first maybe we just cover off Theon quickly.
Oh,
I guess.
Theon, yeah, I forgot about Theon.
Yeah, he has a quick scene with Jon and Daenerys' throne room there on Dragonstone, and they're basically just talking, and I guess Theon really admires Jon, the way he's where he's come from, being a bastard, and how he's now risen. He's the king of the North, and says, I've always appreciated how easy you make things look. And John's like, well, I may look like that on the outside, but that's not how I am on the inside. And Theon basically, this whole time he's just like, I want to save my sister. He's finally gonna sack up with no sack left, but he's gonna sack up and he wants to save his sister. So
John's like, what are you talking to me for?
What are you still doing here? Go do it.
Well, it's kind of a good scene with Jon Theon, because Jon forgives him for a lot of things, and he tells him, I can forgive you for a lot of things, but I can't forgive you for others. And Theon, always has this conflict of whether he's a Greyjoy or a Stark. And Jon said, stop battling whether you're a Greyjoy or a Stark. He goes, you are a Greyjoy and you are a Stark, and we shared the same father. And, he's a part of you and he's a part of me. So it was a real touching scene. I think it gave Theon that boost that he's had conflicts about who he is as a person ever since he was a child, right? So, I mean, Jon reinforcing that, and the fact that Jon can, rise up and kind of forgive him for all the bullshit he did to the family meant a lot to Theon. So Theon's got motivation now. He wants to go get Yara, and then he has to fight the captain on the beach, who's the last ship of the Greyjoy fleet of Yara's loyalty, because the captain has no respect for Theon for leaving Yara. So basically he beats Theon to a pulp until he tries to kick him in the balls a bunch of time, and Theon's like, I have no balls, boy.
Yeah, what are you trying to do? I got nothing there, son.
Ends up headbutting him, beating him to a pulp, and then the crew, he goes, we're going to do this for Yara, and the crew goes, for Yara! And so
off they go.
They're off to go get Yara. So next season, that's what Theon and the Ironborn that are left are doing. They're going to save Yara.
Yeah.
And now we can go back up north.
Yeah, so now we'll head up north, and we'll start with Sansa and Littlefinger. And he's just plotting the shit out of this, and he's just putting all kinds of notions in Sansa's head. And we're just sitting there watching the episode, and we're like, "Oh God, she's not believing this.
She's this dumb." See, here's the problem: you have a scene with Sansa, and you're like, "She should be smarter than this," but deep down, you're like, "Fuck, she's an idiot."
Yeah.
Sansa's really not that bright, and so he basically has convinced Sansa in the scene to arrest Arya publicly and charge her with treason, and basically kill her.
He's playing the game with her, saying, well, let's play the worst possible outcome. Why did you come to Winterfell? Well, she came here to kill me. Why did, what?
Oh, and then he was saying, what would she gain from killing you? Oh, well, then she would become the Lady of Winterfell. So, and it looks like he's got Sansa convinced, because she's finishing his sentences and answering his questions.
She's going right along with everything he's saying.
The very next scene, it's Sansa's like, bring my sister to the Great Hall, and she's got Lord Royce there, she's got the Northern Lords there, she's got all the Knights of the Vale or ring down. They bring Arya, and Arya's kind of like, you sure you want to do this? Yeah. And Sansa's like, yeah, I'm charging, I need you here for this. And Arya's like, well, go on. And she's like, oh, well, I'm charging treason and murder against the king in the north, and blah, 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 blah. And Littlefinger's all smug in the corner, and then Sansa goes, against Lord Peter Baelish. And he goes...
And his jaw hits the floor.
Like, you've never seen Littlefinger, like...
He's always been the smartest guy in the room. He knew exactly what was going to go down. Arya was going to die. He was going to manipulate Sansa. And he's just, what happened?
I think hands down, this was probably the best moment in the episode, and probably in half the season. Like, I said it last week when we did the last week's review. I said, I think Littlefinger's storyline is done. I think his character's done. I think he's going to die this season, and I thought Arya was the woman to do it.
Yeah.
And so he basically starts begging and groveling for his life, but now they have Bran there who's seen everything, so he goes, no, you held the knife up to our father's throat, and told him, I told you not to trust me, and you're the one, that's your dagger, and you told our mom that it was Tyrion's dagger, and you know you started this war, and
Yep.
you poisoned John Arryn with the Tears of Lys, and Sansa goes,
Sansa
yeah.
finally starts, listing off all his list of offenses, and how do you plead?
Yeah.
He's not saying anything. He just keeps begging, and she keeps going on
She's
and
like,
on.
you push Lysa through the moon door so you can get control of the Vale, and you've manipulated all the lords of the Vale. Lord Royce.
I did it for you. I loved you.
Yeah. And then he's like, Lord Royce, take me out of here and take me back to the Vale safely. And he goes, no.
No,
So
not
then,
doing that.
So then he starts groveling on his knees, and Sansa goes, I condemn you for your crimes. And Arya just goes up there and Littlefinger is bleeding. Please. And I'm like, oh, it was so gratifying watching that motherfucker die finally.
It's about goddamn.
I've been waiting 6 seasons, 7 seasons for this damn guy to die. He's still alive in the books for some damn reason. I've been waiting for him to die, and it was so great that Arya killed him. The only thing that I thought would have been different was Arya would have grabbed him the same way he grabbed Ned Stark in season 1. I thought the throat cut would come like that if his death did come, but it was still good.
Yeah.
So Littlefinger is dead finally.
Thank God.
Oh, it's so great. And it shows that Sansa's not that stupid.
She's finally learning. She says, I may be a slow learner,
Yeah.
but I'm finally learning.
So
it's about time.
That's fantastic. So Sansa's not stupid, and now she can live for at least a couple episodes next season. She's got our blessing to survive a couple of more episodes because she's not our favorite character.
No.
But her and Arya have a nice touching reunion afterwards, and it shows that the Starks stay together and they recite what Ned taught them, that the lone wolf dies in winter, but the pack survives, so it's time for them to come back together as a family. And Bran's by the tree, and what the hell was he working into this time? Oh, he's looking into the past, and
Well, first of all, Sam shows up at Winterfell. Sam is, he didn't go to the Wall. He came to Winterfell because that's where he figured Jon would be. So he comes in with Bran, who's sitting by the fire again, and he says, Samwell Tarly, you're here, and he's like, oh, I didn't know you'd remember me. He's like, I remember everything, so I don't know what you're talking about. But
then you get that nice facial expression with Sam where he's like,
that goofy smile.
Oh, okay. Just like, okay, I don't get it, but all right, So they have a quick little reunion, and then he basically explains that he's a three-eyed raven, and Sam's like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I could see the past, present kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Sam's like, oh, well, why didn't you see me coming kind of thing, right? And so then Bran goes, Jon's on his way back, and he goes, everybody needs to know the secret of, Jon being a Targaryen. And Sam's like, oh, what do you mean? And then Bran goes into how Jon's really Rhaegar and Lyanna's son, and his last name should be Sand, not Snow, because he was born in Dorne, and that's what bastards in Dorne are called, Sand. And Sam goes, no. I just went through the accounts of Archmaester blah blah, and he annulled the marriage between Rhaegar and Illyria, and he wed him and Lyanna in secret.
Yep.
And so, Sam looks at Bran and goes, well, can you go see that? So then Bran cuts to Bran, and he witnesses the marriage pact, right?
Yeah.
And then he cuts.
So we find out the whole Robert's Rebellion was a lie, basically.
Yeah, he basically says that Rhaegar didn't kidnap Lyanna and rape her, that they were in love and they got married legally binding. Yep. So Jon isn't a bastard at all, and he's not Jon Targaryen. We find out that when Lyanna last season was whispering in Ned's ear in the flashback that he goes, his name is Aegon, and you need to protect him, Ned. And they cut that out and just said, you need to protect him, Ned. Yeah. So we find out his name is actually Aegon Targaryen. So Jon is really Aegar Targaryen. Legally, he's not a bastard, and Bran finishes it off with basically he's the heir to the Iron Throne.
And of course, while all this is going on, we see Jon walk up to a door, give a little knock, who opens the door, but there's Daenerys. So it's kind of a little creepy that...
Very satisfying scene, because you get to find out all the lineage of what's going on here, but super creepy because it's literally cut frame to cut frame of Bran talking and then Jon going to sleep with his auntie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, great. So she just slept with her nephew, and we had some Targaryen incest going on while we had a big...
And this is where we're a little worried about Tyrion's ulterior motives, because you can see someone's watching from the corner.
I thought it was Jorah, fine, but it wasn't Jorah.
It would make sense her friend zone was creeping, but no, it was Tyrion, and he doesn't look happy. He's got a look on his face like something that he does not approve of, either that they're doing this or he had made some deal maybe with Cersei.
Well, this is what we're thinking.
Yeah.
We're going because you didn't get to see the actual part of the conversation between him and Cersei that actually changed her mind. Like he found out she was pregnant and then she had a vulnerable moment, but you didn't hear the conversation of like. So our fan theory here is maybe that Tyrion brokered like if your child is born and it's a boy, maybe we'll marry the boy to Dany.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, or there's some marriage pact, something that Tyrion has promised Cersei. And watching Jon go in there might have fucked up that pact that he has made secretly.
Or the only other thing that I was thinking was that maybe Tyrion is going to change sides, that he's going to go back to his family and he's going to now double cross Dany and Jon.
Maybe, which is weird because it's very uncharacteristic, and Tyrion really likes Jon, and Tyrion likes Dany, but Dany won't listen to him.
Yeah.
And neither will Cersei, really, but it's family. So I think, and now that Jaime's defected from Cersei, does that mean we're going to get the other brothers going to defect to Cersei?
Yeah.
Like, it'd be a crazy plot twist, and I think it's against Tyrion's character and all that, but it might make sense.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
would completely throw all the fans off.
It would
no
throw
one would
everybody
have seen that coming.
But I think there's been some sort of pact there, and Tyrion's not very happy that Jon and Dany, because can you imagine an alliance between the whole North and Dany? And if Bran actually legally, in front of everybody, can produce evidence that, because Sam has the book from the Maester of his accounts on this wedding, if they actually, they're obviously going to find out next season that Jon is a Targaryen, that he is heir to the throne, right? So obviously him and Dany will end up getting married. Hopefully, I hope she gets speared, though, because I've never liked her either. It'd be great if the Night King just javelin throwed her, and then, because I like Jon, so Jon can be king, and then Dany can be, they can have a heartfelt moment of her dying.
Yeah.
And
well, he's not a Stark anymore, so maybe he can marry Sansa.
Yeah, man, I don't like Sansa either. Maybe Dany and Sansa will both be riding the dragon. The Night King will spear them both off the dragon. That would be the ultimate ending for me, really. So, I mean, the only thing else to touch on the episode then is Bran's warging into his ravens again, and he's at Eastwatch by the Sea. Tormund and Beric Dondarrion are walking the walls and on the top of the wall, and all of a sudden the whole Night King army comes out. Like just 100,000 strong, giants, everybody, right? And Tormund's just like, oh my god, fuck me. And before he can say anything, then you get Viserion swoops in with the Night King, and sounds a lot different, has a undead kind of shriel that lives out, and then just blue flame everywhere, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So basically, they evacuate the wall, and Viserion and the Night King just annihilate the wall, like just take the whole thing down. So Eastwatch is basically gone, and
the army starts marching.
Yeah, episode ends with the 100,000 strong coming through, and they are now in the north officially. So I guess we'll pick up next season if I want to do some predictions on this. The closest stronghold to the wall is House Umbar, so that castle is going to fall first, and I have a feeling it's going to fall in Dragonflame, blue Dragonflame. So that was the finale. You know, really enjoyed it. A lot of cool things. Littlefinger dying was probably the wall coming down was fantastic, but Littlefinger dying was the most satisfying part of that season, right?
For sure.
I mean, a lot of cool bits. Did have some slower scenes that were okay. Like, I appreciate the dialogue. I could see how some people thought it was a bit dragged on.
Like I was saying, like, there's a lot of exposition, a lot of stuff talking, but we saw, like, how fantastic all these actors have become over the years. Like, all these scenes are just incredible, and they're just talking, but they carry so much weight. All they're saying, like, Kit Harington is just improved in leaps and bounds over the years.
For sure. Right?
And Amelia Clark is getting better, and Lena Headey's always just been freaking fantastic.
Always been great. Yeah, Lena Headey's
just seeing all these great actors now together when they were having the scene in the Dragon Pit was just incredible.
Well, and it's the first time since season 1, actually episode 1, that you've had all those characters together on screen together. So that was kind of a cool moment as well.
Well, not all of them, but most of them. Yeah.
Most of them, because of when the King's party arrives at Winterfell, you know. So, I mean, yeah, really good episode. Really enjoyed this season. Tune in next week where we're going to, probably next week, maybe the week after, we're going to do a full recap of season 7.
We'll work on something. We'll put it out for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll kind of, do some theories that we think are going to happen next season. We're going to rate pretty much what happened with every main character that went on this season, so you can kind of know what everybody's story arc was. So tune in next week when we get the new video up for you. Like, share, and subscribe, guys, if you enjoyed this video. I'm Chris, this is Mike, and we're the Bearded Broskies.
See you guys.